This week on Inside the Headset, we are featuring the 2021 AFCA NAIA Regional Coaches of the Year. These coaches include Lindsey Wilson College coach Chris Oliver, Southwestern College coach Brad Griffin, and Texas Wesleyan University coach Joe Prud'homme. In this episode, these coaches discuss their experience playing 2 seasons in 1 calendar year, detail the importance of getting players to buy into the team, and highlight how to leave a positive impact on young men. But before that, a reminder that you can catch the 2022 AFCA convention sessions virtually on February 22nd and 23rd on the AFCA website. So if you'd like to re-watch one of the sessions or listen to one of them for the first time, make sure you are an AFCA member so you can gain access to all the premier content at afca.com. Now, let's get inside the headset.
Hello, I'm Todd Berry, Executive Director of the American Football Coaches Association. Once again, I have the privilege and honor to sit with our regional coaches at the NAIA level. Very exciting about this because it's very difficult, as you all know, but also, this is a award that's voted on by your peer group. And I don't know, gentlemen, if there's anything more special is for your own peer group to acknowledge the season, not just the season you had, but the things that you basically overcame to get there. And so welcome, appreciate you guys being here with us, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
I want to kind of give everyone a couple pretty general questions that I think have an opportunity to go any direction that you want. And this is very discussionary, and so you guys just decide where you want to head with it, and I might ask a follow-up question afterwards, so we're just going to have some fun with it. So Chris, I think one of the things that across all levels, and I think everyone can identify this, is obviously you had a special year. Mm-hmm. And boy, you'd love to be able to project when those years come and when those happen. And it was my belief, or at least I found out, that it seemed like in those few special years that I had, there were different factors that were involved. And so why don't you just take me through, maybe not just this year, but what you found, what made it special? Why did you have the success that you had?
Yeah, well, we've had a special collection of players and great leadership over the past handful of years, and we were in a really unique set of circumstances for us at LWC this year, in that we played our entire season the previous year in the spring. So we didn't play any games in the fall of 2020. Right. For our conference. We came in and we kicked off that 2020 season in the spring of 2021 on February 12th. And we went through and were able to have an unbelievable season, win the national championship that year. And then we finished playing on May 10th. And came home from Louisiana, winning the national championship. And then we sent our guys on summer break. Finals were done, and we got off the bus, and we had a 10-minute team meeting and said, hey, we're going to head home for summer. Congrats, and let's go to work on the next one. And then we got our guys back in early August, which is what most of us do at the quote-unquote small college level. And our guys aren't around during the summer a whole lot. So we came back only 3 months removed from winning a national championship. And probably reading our press clippings and going through that, but not having that time to develop together as a team what you want to do during an off season. So to see our guys come back, celebrate that previous championship, and then go to work again on defending that title. We didn't quite get there this year. We lost in the semifinals. But to see our guys go through that process with the target on us and to really buy into coming back and doing it again, that was just a special group of guys, and they were able to keep that edge about them. And it's the type of group of guys that makes you proud to coach them.
Yeah, I think obviously special players, that's always going to be a key. I had one coach used to suggest that was called the disease of me. Yeah. When all of a sudden they start thinking that, well, we had all the success because of me rather than collectively what we've done as a team. Yep. And I thought that was interesting. Brad, same question, just some thoughts on maybe this year, but even some other years to where you can kind of point for all the coaches out there about what should you look for in having a special team?
Yeah, I'll kind of piggyback off what Coach Oliver had to say is, we had quite a successful team in 20 as well, and played half of our season in the spring. And so going into the fall, we felt really good about what we had done the previous year. And what we really saw the big difference is just kids buying into each other more than anything else. And, you know, a lot of kids, you know, just taking that individual part out and understanding what it takes to really be successful as a team, and really comes down to leadership. And, you know, we felt really good about where we were going in the direction of our program. It was kind of a rebuild when I got to Southwestern in 2015, and so it's taken a little bit of time, but really buying into, you know, I think that family atmosphere and guys doing things for each other. And I had an opportunity to play for a guy by the name of Jerry Kill, so Coach Kill instilled a lot in me as far as just hard work and doing things right, and you know, just trying to pass that off to our kids, and I think they've really bought into that. And so I think that's the biggest part of it as far as the chemistry of, you know, I think you have to have good players, no question. But if you don't have good players that are doing it for each other, then it may be not go as well as you think it will be. So, and I think we were a little bit surprised. We didn't know if we were what kind of team we had. So it was exciting for sure. Very exciting.
It's amazing the influence of a coach. You mentioned Jerry Kill. I know Jerry well. We're around that same age.
Yep.
So go Aggies, right?
Right.
But no, the impact. And I think too, just as a little follow up here, sometimes whenever you're doing something at a place that hasn't done it for a while, there's, I think, maybe sometimes a little bit more buy-in. Now, the disease of me can set in a little bit more pretty quickly after that. But agree that there was a little bit more buy-in because all of a sudden the success?
Absolutely. I mean, they see that there's an opportunity and there's a chance. I think just the approach to everything, class and weights and practice and all that, just kind of changes a little bit, you know. And it doesn't take a lot, but it takes a little bit to get there for sure.
Yeah. Joe, let's same question. You know, again, special year, but you know, you probably had a few that you can look back on and go, yeah, this one might have been a little different. Thoughts?
Well, I'm completely different than these guys. Okay.
No, that's,
we started in 2017, and you know, we were awful. I mean, bad, real bad. We were young. It was just a tough situation. We still don't have an on-campus practice facility yet. We are bussing around a little bit. You know, we're moving. We have a truck full of equipment that we go from place to place. But that's a little bit of the beginning, right? 18, we got a little better. 19, we got real close. I mean, we started getting in these one-possession games, won a few of them, you know, should have beaten the conference champion, you know, get down to the 1 yard line, clock runs out 3 seconds, things of that nature. So we're knocking on the door. We get to 20, COVID, I mean, the whole COVID close contact thing destroyed us. Yeah. Only got to play 2 games. Played one in the fall, one in the spring. Spring, we ended up beating Arizona Christian, who was the eventual conference champion. So you can imagine how frustrated our kids were. I mean, and we were, that we beat those guys and we could have gone on and done a lot of great things. So that was the precursor of we are going to be really good. I made a change in June, May, changed offensive coordinators, changed offensive staff, did it in June, which is late. But our change from air raid and getting into a more complementary style of football completely changed us. And I heard that here so many times the last few years, complementary, 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 and I wasn't doing it in my program for those first few years. We were air raid, 3 and outs, turnovers, big plays by defense, and it's an exhausting roller coaster in that lifestyle. I'm an old power school coach. You know, that was me, power ball all the time. Made a change, brought in Fran Johnson, our offensive coordinator from Benedictine, gave us balance. Our kids were already ready to buy in. That's our similar theme, is our kids really want to play for each other more. They understood that if we're going to do this, we have to do everything together. We have to follow protocols. That's a real thing, you know. So they started to police each other, really play for each other, things of that nature. And then we started having success. Arizona Christian first game, everybody's like, you don't have a chance. You know, I got to listen to all that. It made our kids sick. So we go out and we upset them. First game, 3-game run. Go out to Ottawa, get down by 24, come back, and within a 1-possession game in 8 minutes. That's hard to do. So our kids were getting confidence this whole time, and they constantly played for each other. Our coaching staff really has come together in a much better way. And, you know, we're bringing almost everybody back on offense. Defensively, we're going to rebuild some, but that complementary style that I kept listening to here and finally was stubborn enough to listen to it, right? Just a complete buy-in, like these gentlemen have said. But my seasons were at a different place that I had, won a lot of championships at a different level, but this was our first real successful season here, in the NAIA and in the Sooner Athletic Conference. And as a result, now they're going to build the on-campus facility. They're going to build the stadium on campus, things of that nature that would have never been possible without this past season.
Yeah,
So,
amazing.
A little different, but
Yeah.
So we're still in our infancy, but we're starting to rise a little bit now. So it was great.
Next question. This our centennial year, 100 years. Pretty amazing. I think this is my 39th convention overall. And there's been so many really significant moments during the convention for me as a coach. But there's one that stands out in particular. And I'd kind of like to hear yours. I think it could be one of those things to where, it was an epiphany. You saw the light, and all of a sudden, this is what I want to do, or this is who I want to be, or it could be outcome based. This gave me this opportunity for a job. And so, Chris, let's talk about kind of what your epiphany was and what the moment was here at the convention that was just special to you.
Yeah, I've been coming for about 20 years now. I remember my first one down in Orlando and sitting in the lobby and just being completely intimidated. I don't know anybody. Thank goodness my head coach I worked for brought me, and I don't know how I'm ever going to get to know the people here. And you just go through and you hear so many great speakers over the years. But I think a handful of years ago, hearing Coach Sparks, and Coach Taff at a Legends, I'm not sure what the title of it was.
Yeah, the Master Coach Series.
Yeah, the Master Coach
Ken
Series.
Sparks.
And you hear a guy in Coach Sparks that has had so much success on the field, back at Carson Newman, but just the impact that he's had on so many lives off the field and what he's doing for the young men there. And I was at a point by the time I'd heard that where I'd already been an assistant coach for a number of years, had been a head coach then for still some years. It was fairly recent. But when you go through that process, just because you become a head coach doesn't mean you stop learning, and you're still developing who you are, and that's what you want of your young men. And just hearing Coach Sparks, talk about, okay, his career is over, and I'm retired, but here is what this has meant to him, and here's how he has impacted so many lives. And I think the longer you do this, when you're a young guy, you hear people talk, it's about relationships, about developing young men. And I think as a young coach, at least for me, I was never against that, but I didn't appreciate it.
Right.
And now, as I've got more years under my belt, I appreciate it more and more every year. So to hear a legend, talk about that and describe what that means to him, that's just really impacted me.
Yeah, Coach Griffin, I want to kind of follow up with you too, because on the same subject matter, because I think my situation was very similar to yours, where there was just someone that just really, really impacted me along those lines. And so, Coach, how about yours?
Yeah, first of all, it starts when I'm a player in college and not even understanding exactly what I wanted to do, moving forward with my career. I'm a small farm kid from Western Kansas, so I knew I didn't want to do that. But so I was blessed. I'll talk about Coach Kill again real quickly, but just blessed to be a part of his career, his stop at Emporia State where I played at, and their staff, and if you followed him, those guys went with him everywhere he went. So that loyalty part of it was a big part of, I guess, seeing things done, in my opinion, the right way. And so that was the big spark for me to get an opportunity. I said, hey, these guys did it right. They treated me, with the utmost respect and cared about who I was as a player. And I said, I want to be a part of that. So that was the start of it. And then I just think collectively, this is my 21st year of coaching, my 18th year in the NAIA, to just be able to come to the convention and listen to all the great coaches that have been here. Try to just grab a little piece from different guys. I'm a Kansas guy, so hey, Bill Snyder's talking, and go listen to Coach talk, and how are you winning in Manhattan, Kansas? At the biggest level of football. Well, we're little Manhattan in Southwestern Kansas, and in the scheme of things. So just take some of those bits and pieces and try to tie it all in and kind of make it your own. But just blessed to be able to come down and listen to a lot of great speakers over the years. And so that to me is just trying to take it all in. So
Yeah. Coach Prud'homme, same question.
Man, that's a tough question. I've been doing it for over 30 years now. So I started in the high school ranks, came down here, heard so many speakers for so many years. Bill Snyder's one of my favorites, by the way. But hearing Coach Taft talk about lives, changing lives, building great young men. And so I took upon myself, what other career do we really get to impact so many lives that spider webs out and the butterfly effect? You know, that what happened then really impacts a kid, that impacts other kids, that impacts so many. And it was just so profound to hear so many of those coaches, the legends, talk about it. And you know, when I was young, I was thinking, man, I'm gonna get all these X's and O's, and I looked up and they're not even talking about that. That's not even that important. But to hear the building great young men, to change lives, to form lives, and get them something where collective greatness is better than individual greatness. And I think that's more critical now than ever before in our new generation, that you have so many guys that are so interested in just themselves, to give yourself unconditionally to a program or to another group of men and see what that outcome is going to be. And it's about what we all did. It's not about what I did. They're looking back at that. I think it's really important to know why we do it. And my why is building great young men. And you know, I want to retire someday, and I want to look back at that generation feeling confident that I did everything in my power to help build guys and men and families and husbands that are going to be great going forward. And it was a series of aha moments for me. I had to put down the pen 4 or 5 times. I was a little stubborn, you know. I was going to X and O it up, but I just kept listening, and I was like, man, these guys have been so successful. And then you watch them walk, and they can't get down a hallway. They're getting mugged by everybody that they've impacted. And I thought, you know what? That's something I really want to do. That I want to emulate that as much as I can, put it all into place. And any coach that I hire or even interview, one of my questions, you know, is, can you love my kids as much as I do? Because if you can't, you're at the wrong place, buddy. Yeah. And you know, there's 2 kinds of coaches in my mind. There's transactional, there's transformational. There's those coaches that use those kids for everything they can get, and there's those that are transformational. And I know these men here and the ones that I've seen forever, that's what they are. They're transformational. And I just kind of gave myself to that a long time ago. And you know, I figured I'm in a place now that I could really put a stamp on that.
That's great. So, I think one of the greatest moments for me now in my role is just because I'm obviously around a lot, running around the lobby, is just how many young people that I've put in coaching. Yeah. And it's just, as you get older, gentlemen, it is so rewarding to know that, you know, those guys looked and said, that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important for us moving forward. Again, it's been a great honor having you guys up here with us. I very much appreciate your time. Congratulations on the award. I mentioned earlier I only had one of these in like 15 years of head coaching, and so I know how special that is to me right now. But again, thank you very much for your wisdom, and we very much appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Inside the Headset. If you heard anything on this episode that you would like to learn more information about, head over to afcapodcast.com, where you can find every episode and all of the corresponding show notes. While you're there, take a second to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for the show, please let us know by sending an email to podcast@afca.com. Make sure to follow the podcast on Twitter @InsideTheHeadset and tag it when you share each episode. You can stay up to date with all things AFCA by following the @WeAreAFCA Twitter account. Every episode of Inside the Headset can also be found on your favorite audio streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. If you are not currently a member of the AFCA, be sure to find us online at afca.com and apply to join over 10,000 NFL, college, and high school coaches from around the country who are striving to be the best they can be. With an AFCA membership, you gain invaluable access to the annual AFCA convention, the bi-monthly magazine, and the new and improved digital library, which contains thousands of videos and articles contributed by hundreds of current and former football coaches. You can also visit AFCAinsider.com to sign up for our free weekly email newsletter on the right-hand side of the screen. It comes out every Tuesday at lunch and is filled with great articles and stories written by many of the same coaches you hear on the podcast. It's geared to help you become a better coach tomorrow than you are today. Be sure to connect with me on Twitter at Coach Mario Price. And remember, the AFCA is not just an annual convention. It is an association that continually promotes education, guidance, and networking. But it is also so much more than that. The AFCA is about celebrating the past and educating the future. It is about developing great coaches who will produce great teams and even better people. So invest in your skill set and impact today by engaging with the AFCA.